I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. Welcome to another Wet Fart News Edition, where we'll be sending you, or you will be receiving a lot of crap from us today. And let's see what the mainstream media is trying to shove down our throats today. So, guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, be part of the channel. Don't forget to set your reminders. We got a big show, Commonwealth for Common Folks, Finding Opportunities. And don't forget to check out also Mike in the Night, Darkness Arrives. That's going to be this Saturday, Wednesday and Saturday. Set your reminders here and be part of the call-ins if you want to call in to the show. Also, you could send me show tips here on Instagram. Thank you so much for the show tips. So, Ford calls on Trudeau. So, who's Ford? It's not the Ford Motor Company. It is Doug Ford, the governor or governor of Ontario, or the premier of Ontario, is basically calling for the prime minister of Canada to close our borders. So Canada is basically sent a threat out the other day that if you go on vacation during the winter, or if you decide to take a vacation, that you might be stranded in the country you're in. I've confirmed it. I've discussed it. I've spoken to other people in the travel industry that could confirm with me that if you have a way to get to China, you could come back to Canada if China lets you in. So basically, if you're in the Asia, if you could get to a Chinese airport, you'll have no problem coming back to Canada at all, ever. There's no disturbances from China. It's just, if you go to Jamaica, Portugal, Spain, Australia, you're going to have a really tough time getting back into Canada, and you might be stranded in that country. So they're stopping Canadians from traveling. So what is that? Or should it be a wet... Should this one get a wet fart? Oh, yeah, that's a total wet fart. So, Ford calls Trudeau. Ontario Premier Doug Ford is calling Ottawa to close borders to non-Canadian residents in an effort to stem up the spread, to stem the spread of the new COVID-19. So, there's new strains of COVID coming in, guys. I don't even think we know even what the first strain is, but there's a new one. There's a new one. There's a new one out there. Okay, I'm not gonna buy this, whatever this is, but this is from the Express. This is from London. Lockdown until September. Boris faces a major rebellion as he pleads for 6-month extension. So right now they're pleading, Boris is pleading for a 6 months extension. Now, who's whispering in this guy's ear? Who's telling him, your people need to be locked down, Boris, in England? They need to be locked down for 6 more months. We need this 6 months. What are they planning in 6 months? What could they accomplish in 6 months? What are they planning on rolling out after 6 months? That's the question we need to ask. Wet fart. Oh, yeah. So 6 more months in England. World leaders meet in Switzerland to discuss Great Reset, where people will owe nothing and they will be happy. This is from the Alberta Press. This is independent media, and they are meeting in the Davos 2021 World Economic Forum. WEF starts January 25th with more than 1,200 delegates from 60 countries participating in the virtual event. So it's a virtual event. They got to keep the distancing, right? So this is a virtual event. I think it has more to do with their safety, in my opinion, not the safety of this new African or English or Swazi virus that's going around, or the new strain that's going around. It more has to do with people being upset with the current situations. And a lot of the people that are on these boards they're not even elected. They are appointed in a lot of these that go to these World Economic Forums. They've been appointed. Yeah. So shouldn't they do lie detector tests? I mean, as we the people, shouldn't we mandatory people that get appointed by governments that are elected should do a background, like a legitimate background check, a legitimate lie detector, a urine test, a poop sample, and a couple of other things. Why? I mean, they should be doing that. They do it to us. So, I mean, why can't... Anyways, let's move on. New Zealand's new COVID case is the South African variant. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is happening. So they got a case, and I had a gentleman call me from New Zealand last night. We had, a 30-minute discussion, and we talked about this for 30 minutes, and he's fed up. He's tired. He's fed up with this. He's this is getting too much, and this and that. And, he's trying his best to get to make sure he stays employed, saying the right things and doing the right things. And I don't know. I hope he doesn't get to the point where he's told that he needs to get the vax to work. And it's really, really depressing. It's very depressing. So New Zealand's new COVID case is the South African variant. So New Zealand's first case of the COVID in the community in months has been identified as the South African variant. Health Minister Chris Hipkins said on Monday, adding that the 56-year-old woman probably caught it from another returning traveler just before leaving quarantine. Come on, give me a break, man. Why can't they get the person dead to rights that had it originally and that came in from South Africa? So then that way we know. What, you're telling me they don't know who that person is she was in contact with a limited amount of people in quarantine? Give me a break. You know what I smell? Right here. Right there. Oh, no. Wet fart. That's what I smell right there. You're telling me with all the state-of-the-art video cameras, I could bet you 100 to 1. 100 to 1 that there's cameras all over that place, literally all over that place, watching the people in quarantine. And you're telling me they don't know who? Give me a break. Ontario doctor and her husband contracted the new COVID variant. Now they're charged. Now you're getting charged if you get the virus. The first Ontario couple, one of whom is a doctor who contracted the new COVID-19 variant from the United Kingdom, has been charged. Brian and Martina Weir from the Durham region, Ontario, of east of Toronto, they have been charged with 3 public health-related offenses under the Health Protection of the Promotion Act of Ontario. Now, what they're saying is that they denied any contact, but you know what? Now, this is kind of, I'm actually excited about this because now they're going to have to prove that this virus actually exists now if they're going to go through with charging this couple. So now they're going to have to, now the courts have to actually prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, right? So this is going to be a very interesting, unless the court overrules and says, too bad, we're going to go with the non-science stuff and what they think is the problem, then that's heartbreaking where they're not good. They don't use science for global warming. Then they didn't use it for climate change. They're not using science for anything anymore. And that's the scary part. That is the scary part. They're not using science they use science to debunk Christianity, and that's about it. Everything else is kosher, but science was invented to debunk Christianity. But to better our lives, whether it's through pharma, food, whatever, it's making everything worse. Wet fart. All right, let's move it on. Australian housing system broken with more than half of low-income renters facing rental stress. Okay. Low-income renters, okay, what they pay for rent is what you could rent a mansion out in parts of the United States. I'm not making this up. What they're paying for rent in Australia, some people are paying $400, $500, $600 a week for rent. That is, you could rent, like, you could pay, I could show you what you could buy in parts of America for that much in a mortgage. You could buy a mansion from what they pay for rent in Australia. I feel so bad for the Australian housing market. I hope YouTube doesn't take down my video for discussing the Australian housing market. Demand for homelessness services has soared more than half. Wow, that's a lot. Of all low-income renters facing rental stress, a new report shows that prompting warnings about the looming cuts and job seeker payment. So here's the deal. You don't have an economy if the middle class can get into the housing market, and that's like that in Australia. Middle class in Canada, all those countries, they can't get into the housing market. We know this if you've been watching my channel. Then you got the people now that they can't even afford rent. Now you definitely don't have an economy anymore in Australia because then those people that can't afford to pay the rent aren't working. If they're not working, they're not paying their way through taxing their wages and stuff. It becomes a big gong show. What fart? All right. Okay, so this is from the Daily Wire. Male trans MMA fighter who beat up women dubbed as bravest athlete in history. Wow. Nuclear fart. One in 5 Americans have confidence that Biden can unite the country. So I guess those are the 1 in 5 that actually voted for him. So 1 in 5 Americans have confidence Biden can unite the country poll. And I love these things. A majority of Americans say, a majority of Canadians say, a majority of New Zealanders say, a majority of Australians say. No, they don't. This is what they think. So 1 in 5 Americans, this is actually, I believe this, 1 in 5 have confidence Biden could unite the country. While 22% said Biden will unify the country, 24% remained highly skeptical, saying that they have no confidence at all that he will be able to do so. 35% they say they have a good amount of confidence in Biden could unite the country, and 19% say not so much confidence. Respondents to the survey were asked. Were these people asked on whatchamacallit? What's that show called? Family Feud. We asked 100. Yeah. Anyway, so no, we're gonna go with the wet fart. Let's move on. Australia has suspended New Zealand travel bubble. What's happening and why did it take just one case of COVID? Yeah, that's a good question. First up, what's happening with the New Zealand travel bubble? So people in New Zealand have been asked to reconsider their travel to Australia because they will be facing a minimum of 72 hours in hotel quarantine, and if the pause is extended, you could face up to 14 days in quarantine. Why did it only take one case in New Zealand? The community case in New Zealand is more infectious with South African variant COVID. For one case? Rapid generic testing on Monday confirmed the suspicions of New Zealand authorities. The more transmissible COVID variants are increasingly responsible for outbreaks across the globe. This is why Australia also called a green zone travel arrangements with New Zealand shortly after the case was confirmed. This new South African variant is more transmissible and presents a heightened level of risk, said Acting Chief Medical Officer Michael Kidd. So, I guess it's a highly contagious form of the flu? Like, I mean, why they miss... Like, okay, guys, it goes back. Let's go back here. It goes back to global warming. Florida will be underwater by 2007. That didn't work. Now it's climate change. And if something... you can't fight climate change because the climate does change. And I'm not going to argue it doesn't change. It does. But the question is, are we putting enough in? I think that volcano in Indonesia, was it Jakarta, Indonesia area, put more soot and ash in our ionosphere than we have in the last 25 years with all our cars. Look that up. You might be actually surprised to see how much volcanoes do damage than we do. Yeah. Fart button. Okay, rows of white crosses in downtown Sudbury, Ontario honor those lost to opioid crisis. There are a lot of young families, young Canadians dying on the streets. And look at these young folks just passing away from opioid crisis. After putting up a simple white cross on the spot where his son's body was found, she invited others that lost family members to do the same. So there he is right there. I don't know what to tell you guys. I think Canada has betrayed its citizens. I think Canada is more involved in bringing in foreign and big money into the country as opposed to keeping their economies going instead of crashing it and resetting it so everyone has a chance to restart. A lot of people are getting very depressed because they know that they're not going to make headway no matter what they do in their lives. Even if they win the lottery, they could be in danger of still not making it. So that's how bad it's been getting. And a lot of respect for the family. I'm really sorry about this. Let's move on. And I kind of wanted to throw that out there. At least somebody's paying attention to the Canadian youth. Really brokenhearted. And their parents and grandparents fought in wars to keep us free. Anyways. COVID. Vaccinated people may spread the virus, said Van Damme. Is that Van Damme? I think they got a spelling error there. I think Van Damme is in this now. So if you get the vaccine, you could still spread the virus. So proof, Van Damme said, no vaccine has ever been 100% effective, so there is no guaranteed protection. It kind of reminds me of Richard Pryor. Who remembers Richard Pryor when he was on stage on his stand-up? Why are they forcing me to take this vaccine? If everybody else is vaccinated, why should they worry if I'm not? And then the crowd laughs. And I love Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor, in my heart of hearts, is one of the greatest stand-up comedians. I love this performance in Superman 3. So if you haven't seen Superman 3, check it out. Richard Pryor's in it. Really good movie. And he was in the movie Moving. And he's in so many good movies. Anyways, let's move on. COVID. Why won't vaccinating the vulnerable end lockdown? So if people are vulnerable or vulnerable to dying from getting this mysterious boogeyman, why? Like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any. So number of patients in hospitals still rising. I'm willing to bet anyone 100-1 odds that right here that 39,068 patients. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Prove it. Oh, this is from the BBC, so this is from England. Hold on. Nuclear fart! Oh, they got a little wraparound in there. All right, so what's going on here? This is from NBC or ABC or one of those losers. Protest against COVID restrictions descended into violence across Holland. Country's government enforced a curfew at 9 p.m. until 4:30 to reduce the spread of the virus. Oh my God! So here it is. There. Switzerland is holding a referendum on whether to strip the government of its power to impose COVID lockdowns. There it is. Goodbye, government. Switzerland will hold a referendum on whether to strip the government of its power to impose new lockdown measures. It comes at an increasing national debate after the rights of individuals, the Financial Times reported. The Swiss government this week tightened existing measures amid concern of new, more transmissible strain of the virus, which has been linked to rising infection rates. Okay, so what happened to getting the flu and getting sick and getting over it? I mean, is that done now? Is this like global warming? Oh, no. This starts out as Afghani freedom fighters. Then it becomes Al-Qaeda. Then it becomes ISIL. Then it becomes ISIS. And then it becomes... I don't know what it becomes. It gets changed so much. So is having the flu or contracting the flu now going to be a deadly virus going forward? Or are kids growing up now going to always have to get vaccinated now when there's a new contraction of a deadly pandemic going around? That's what I'm afraid of. And that's what I'm afraid of them being indoctrined into this. Right, fart? The Financial Times reported that their friends, that Friends of the Constitution, a campaign group on Wednesday, triggered a vote submitting a petition of 86,000 signatures calling for a nationwide vote whether to repeal the 2020 COVID Act. I think they should just get rid of the government, period, and start fresh. I think platforms like platforms. You want to run, it's not housing and affordability levels anymore. You want to run for prime minister. You want to run for whatchamacallits. You want to run for, I'm just trying to think here, president. You want to run for premier. You want to run for governor. Your platform said, we're going to get rid of this COVID crap and go back to normal. You run that as a platform, you will win the election, but you can't break your promise. That's one promise you got to make. Okay, Ireland billionaires saw their fortunes raised by $3.28 billion last year in worrying trend. Yep, billionaires are getting richer due to COVID. Fart button. Okay. Trump exit approval rating higher than Biden's entry approval rating. Oh, don't be racist. This is racism. Everybody loves Joe. That's why he got the most votes in American history for any other presidents. And he got more votes of people in voting areas that don't even have that much population. Like, where did these people come from? I mean, how did a region of, let's say, of a county that has 31,000 registered voters, and Biden got 60,000 votes in that area? That's amazing. That is like, it's phenomenal. I love it. Okay, Irish billionaires. Well, we read that already. Pfizer says its COVID vaccine trial for kids ages 12 to 15 is fully enrolled. There it is right there, folks. If you want to inoculate your children, it's in your call. It's in your hands. I don't give any medical advice here because I can't read and I'm not and I can't even spell doctor. I spell doctor with a K. So you don't want to take my advice on anything, but fart with reverb. All right. Hundreds visit park and go sledding and have a snowball fight despite the lockdown. Look at that. Huge crowds. Woo! Oh no, somebody might get a sniffle there. Oh, somebody might catch a sniffle and they're going to lock down the entire country for 6 months. What fart? Biden signs executive orders on COVID vaccinations pandemic response. Biden has set an ambitious goal of giving 100 million shots in 100 days, ramping up the pace from 17 million shots the Trump administration oversaw. So they're going to do this. They're going to do 100 million shots? Wow, 100 million in 100 days. Look at that. Yeah! All right, we got to do nuclear fart, guys. Prepare yourself. Plug your ears. Nuclear fart. It got a little push, like a little rounding to the end there. California hiding COVID data from public, says releasing the information would confuse residents. Oh, God forbid people knew the truth. 2 masks are the new mask. Let me see if I can refresh this from the New York Times. They want me to hear this. So 2 masks. Doubling masks is a sensible, easy way to lower your risk when you have to spend more time around others. So if you got to spend time around others, you got to wear 2 masks. 2! Not 1, but dos máscaras. I gotta say this in Portuguese in case someone's just watching this randomly in the background and they don't understand what I'm saying. Bom dia, todo mundo. Agora, se você quer sair em público, você quer sair, você tem que usar 2 máscaras. Não é uma, mas 2 máscaras. So let's do this in Spanish. Buenas tardes todos. Si tú quieres salir a tu casa, es muy bueno para poner 2 máscaras. Muy importante para tener 2. And that is a major issue. We're going to go with just a regular fart. I don't even know where that is. Violence broke out across Netherlands as the government imposed curfew to reduce the spread of COVID. So again, I think the Europeans are going to be the trigger that ends this all. Look at the Gilets de Jaunes in France. Nearly half of healthcare workers at Chicago's Loretto Hospital refuse the vaccine. So what happened earlier this month? Okay, we had people pass away from taking the vaccine. This is in 1972. A government whistleblower, Peter Baxton, revealed that for the previous 40 years, beginning in 1932, the CDC's and U.S. Public Health Services conducted the so-called Tuskegee experiment to study the progression of untreated syphilis in impoverished African-American men. Yeah, we know about this. This was a big deal. We covered this on the channel, and just using people as guinea pigs. And this is a major deal when you got health officials that are just don't want to take this. They don't want to take this. What fart? And they don't trust this. Dozens of care home residents died with COVID before the second jab. Oh my God, I'm so sad to hear that. So what happened was they got the vaccination and dozens of them passed away before they could get the second vaccination. Yeah, they got to roll these out they got to roll this stuff out a lot faster than what they're doing. I'm being sarcastic here. You take it the way you want to take this. You believe what you want to believe because it's your free will to believe what you want. And this is scary stuff for me. And Giuliani being sued for $1.3 billion by Dominion Voting Systems over false election fraud claims. I think this is fake news because I know that I heard that the voting systems have went bankrupt. I think the company no longer exists, or they're filing for bankruptcy or something. I'm not sure why. I don't know what's going on with that, but I don't know if this is fake news. Comment below if you know the answer, because somebody there knows. And Quebec researchers say they have found an effective drug to fight COVID. What is it, vitamin C? A team of researchers in Montreal Heart Institute believe that they have found an effective weapon against COVID. It's called clochincine, an oral tablet already known and used for other diseases. Basically, to be able to offer this from Quebec and for the planet, we are happy, said. Okay, so the Colcora study involved 4.159 patients. 4,159, sorry. I thought it was 4.1 patients. 4,159 patients whose diagnosis of COVID has been confirmed by the blah, blah, blah. Analysis and study found that it's not chloroquine, it's something else. Colochincine resulted in reduction in hospitalizations by 25%, the need for medical ventilation by 50%, and the deaths by 44%. This is the first hope that patients with COVID who are worried and not hope. So there it is right there. They have a drug. It's probably pennies on the dollar to buy, pennies on the dollar to make, and it's probably inexpensive. This building might go up in smoke. I mean, I'm not making this up. This building might go up in smoke. Just saying. Australian man missing for 18 days survived on mushrooms. Good for him. A man who was missing in Australia for 18 days has been found after surviving on mushrooms and dam water, police say. Oh, good for him. Good for the man. And I want to read this one, but they want me to pay for it. China's growing power is scaring ordinary savers out of Hong Kong. So people with money in Hong Kong are moving to Canada. Canada and England are in a backdoor battle, and Australia and New Zealand fighting over people with money in Hong Kong to come over to prop their economies up. And that's become a major deal for the last 10 years here. And let's finish off our... let's look up Florida Man. Let's look up Florida Man to end this Wet Fart Edition. Florida Man. Okay, let's go to news. What's in today's news? 7 hours ago. Okay. Florida man accused of killing a married men he met on a dating app. So there you go. There's your Florida man right there. So I kind of want to end it with a Florida man story. Florida man accused of killing married men he met on dating app. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys like our nuclear fart. Wet fart edition. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good push. And you know what, guys? This is what they're telling us. You tell me if it's crap. What do they try to feed us? Is it crap? Let me know. Wet Fart Edition coming your way. Thanks for watching and subscribing and being part of the channel.